How's it going, everyone? Well, I'm coming right back at you guys with another blogging video, and it's going to be not so much a tutorial on structured query language, abbreviated SQL, but it's going to be kind of an update on my data science journey, some of the things I've been doing since I discovered this career field back in like February of 2019, and some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing the next few months before I start my Master's in Data Science program, which is either going to be this fall or maybe this winter, depending on how things go. I mean, it's kind of chaotic given the current situation with this pandemic going on, but nonetheless, I began this journey in data science back in the February of 2019. I was kind of just learning more about the career field, searching out, like, is this a growing career field? What exactly does it entail? Like, what is a data scientist? Because it's even to this day, there's still a lot of confusion. It's like, what exactly does a data scientist do? I mean, you've got like financial analyst, marketing analyst, data analyst, machine learning engineer, data engineer. And it's like, you've got a lot of these jobs, and sometimes they can sometimes overlap with one another. And so it can become kind of confusing. And I started learning about programming, mainly using Python programming last February, not this February, but last February, along with structured query language. But it was pretty sporadic. I mean, it wasn't too much. I mean, I kind of got the basics down, like learning how to like do a simple print statement. Like they typically use like hello world. I think it's like whenever people like refer to the basics, it's like, yeah, it's time to move on from like the hello world basics. And it wasn't really until September of last year when I really started devoting like 1 to 2 hours a day, really learning more about Python programming, structured query language. And then starting this year, I started reviewing my math because I just received the syllabi for the first 3 courses of my data science curriculum. And it's going to be pretty math heavy, and it's going to be really tight. It's going to be a lot of mathematics over a 10-week course, and it's going to be pretty intense. One of the courses is going to be like an accelerated version of like Calc 1 through Calc 3. The other course is going to be discrete mathematics and linear algebra. And then the third course is going to be an accelerated course on Python programming to build me up to speed for when we start the more advanced stuff in the data science program itself. So over these next 4 months, I'm going to be quite busy hunkering down, making sure I understand a good deal about Python programming, especially as it relates to data science, mathematics, more so relating to data science as well. But it probably wouldn't hurt me to know as much as I can about calculus, at least 1 through 2, and then discrete mathematics and linear algebra. So I've pretty much got my work cut out for me. And at the same time, I'm taking a data analyst nano degree program through Udacity, and I just completed my second project on it. It's been checked off, completed, got good remarks on it. So I've got 3 more projects to go on that one, and I'm going to be uploading those first 2 projects tomorrow onto my GitHub. So I will have a total of 5 repositories on my GitHub by the end of tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about that. And this nano degree program is going to provide me with at least 3 more projects. But I'm going to be doing a lot of intermediate projects as well. Just kind of making sure I kind of cement those skills. So it kind of just helps to do some smaller projects, just stuff to have some fun with, demonstrating that I'm learning some new skills. So I'm pretty excited about that. And here's the thing. A lot of data scientists don't necessarily start off as in a data science role. A lot of times they're going to start off as a data analyst. Even with a master's in data science, more than likely I will be starting off as a data analyst or maybe like data analytics. But maybe, I could get lucky and maybe start off as like a junior data scientist. It's hard to say. I mean, things can pan out. But regardless, I mean, given the past 2 years with my luck, with my current degree of exercise science, I would be more than happy to take any data analyst job. So I'd be so happy if I got myself a data analyst job, say over the summer or before the end of the year. So that's why I'm doing this nano degree program. That's why I'm working on projects. And that's why I'm really trying to get myself up to speed. So when I do start this master's degree program, I can kind of go through it a lot more smoothly. So let's go ahead. Let's kind of figure out some more simplistic SQL queries. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start out by saying show databases. And this is typically going to show like every database that I've got on my computer. A lot of these I created just for the heck of it, just for being bored, but most of them don't have any tables in them. Some of them do. But we're going to go ahead and use the world database. And it's already in use. So we're going to go ahead and go into our world data set. And we're going to go ahead and show what tables we have in our world. So go ahead and show tables. And so these are the different tables we have in our world. So let's go ahead and dive a little deeper into country. We're going to go ahead and do some exploration into our country table. So we're going to go ahead and hit what's called describe country, and it's going to pull up this information here. Now what this is telling us over here is the field. Each of these resemble a column. This is a column, and then here is a data type in each column. Each column can only have one data type. So meaning you can't have a column that has both, say, like variable character length and integer values. They can only have one data type. So name is going to be a char 52, character 52. Now, when I create my own tables, I'll typically use what's called a varchar, and that stands for variable character length. Meaning, like, let's say instead of saying char, this said varchar of 52. That would mean that you could store any character length, and it's referred to as a string data type, and it could be as long as 52 characters long. It could be 10 characters, it could be 15 characters, but it could not exceed 52 characters. And then as you see here, we've got surface area, that's a float. So it can be a maximum of 10 digits, and it's going to be up to 2 decimal places. Life expectancy is another float. And then capital here is an int. That's another data type. So you got like your integers, like no decimals, just like your regular integers, like -5, 0, 5, 100, 10,000, so forth. So these are our column names. These are the data types. This lets us know if it's null, like if it will accept null values. So like let's say you're inserting data into your table, and if you got where it's specified non-null values, it will raise an error. And then this is the primary key. So typically when you create a table, you're going to have a column that's designated as your primary key. But that's going to be a little bit for another video when I kind of show you guys how to create a table. Let's go ahead and dive deep into some basic SQL queries, as knowing SQL is an important skill for being a data analyst as well as being a data scientist. And you guys will see why, because I'm going to be making some mistakes on purpose. I'm going to be kind of showing you guys the importance of being able to properly select data, so it will save you time from having to do more data cleaning when you start doing it, doing more data exploration using, say, like pandas and Python programming. So let's go ahead and start off by doing the most basic query there is. And that is going to be running what's called just a simple select. We're going to go ahead and use our wildcard symbol. That's basically selecting every single row from the table. So every query that you write is going to begin with the select clause. So it's going to begin with select. And you'll notice that I'm capitalizing the keywords, and then everything else is lowercase. SQL is a case-insensitive language, but it's common practice to capitalize keywords to make it easier for readability. So we're going to go ahead and select from country, and so we're going to watch what happens. It's like, whoa, you might be freaking out thinking, oh my gosh, is my computer going to crash? No, it's not going to crash. But here's where it becomes really important to learn how to filter your data. Let's say we were working with a table that had millions of rows. What's going to happen if you don't filter your data? Well, for one, it's going to take a long time for your query to run, and it's not going to be looking too good if you're having to sit there waiting, twiddling your thumbs, wondering what I did wrong. So let's say we only want to pull back a certain amount of data. So this is going to be a very basic filtering process, and that is simply by using what's called the limit clause. So once again, we are going to select everything from all columns from our country table, but we're going to limit the amount of rows we get back. And let's say we want to, so this is the clause right there, limit. Whatever number you put in, it's going to be the number of rows that are returned. So let's say we only want to return seven rows. So what's going to happen? We're going to get a return of 7 rows. Now, once again, you will notice that this looks pretty messy. And so you're thinking, do we really care about all these columns? I mean, do we like, let's say we're trying to answer a question. Maybe we're trying to figure out what the population density is of a particular country. Do we really care about GNP? Do we really care about GNP old or local in? Or do we really care about the government form? No. So let's say we're really only worried about the surface area and the population. And so as you can see, this is pretty messy. So let's go ahead and let's go run our describe table once again, just to see which columns we're dealing with. So let's go ahead and select life expectancy and population. So like we want to let's say we want to do surface area and population. And so like we want to figure out like what the surface area, and how, what the population density is. So then we would download our data and then do some data exploration, say using a Python programming language, or maybe using R or some other programming language, depending on what area you have more experience in. So let's say we're trying to answer ourselves a question, but we got to pull our data from a database. Well, this is where using a good query is going to save you a lot of time. So we're going to go ahead and select. And we're going to select. It's going to be surface area, and we're going to go ahead and select population. And so each column that you select, you've got to separate it with a comma. And then after the last table, you select there is no comma. So and then from country, let's go ahead and just limit it to, let's say, 30 rows. So we're going to go ahead and select surface, population, from country, limit 30. And I got a little, so what happened here is I forgot to put in surface area. No problem. We're just going to go ahead and run the query again. Surface area. I got to make sure I put area. Surface area. And then population from country, limit 30. And there we go. So now we've got our population and surface area. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another example. Let's say we want to select continent, region. Let's go ahead and select continent, region, and let's go ahead and do a local name. So once again, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and hit the describe table because I don't want to have to keep scrolling up and down. Otherwise, that's going to be kind of a pain. So once again, we're going to go ahead and select. Let's go ahead and select region. Let's go ahead and select region, continent, and then we're going to hit capital. Let's go ahead and select capital as well. From country, let's go ahead and limit our results to 15. Oh, I got an error here. So the problem with using this command line face is when you make an error, it can be kind of a pain because I have to go back all the way here, select, because otherwise I'm going to get an error, and then I got to come out all the way here. But that's no worries. So there we go. Now you'll notice here that the order I put the columns in is the order it's going to be displayed. So obviously I put region first, then continent, even though up here continent comes first. And if you were to select every single column, continent would come first, but because I put region first, that's what's going to show up first. So how you select your columns, it's how it's going to be displayed in your table. So we got select, and then we got our different column names here. Okay, so now that's some pretty basic querying right there, using the select statement and then the limit clause. But let's say we want to get a little bit more advanced now. So we're going to have some fun here. And so let's go ahead and we're going to select every country. We'll get a little bit more advanced here. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's go ahead and select population. So we're going to go ahead and select name. Let's go ahead and select the name of our country and population. Select name, population from country, limit. Let's go ahead and just limit 20. Okay, so we have some pretty large populations here, but let's say we're interested, and let's say we're doing a project and we're only concerned about countries that have really high populations, and we don't really care about the ones that have lower populations. I mean, it depends on what kind of question you're trying to answer, but let's say we're only concerned about countries that say have a population of, let's say, over 10 million people. So this is where you're going to use a where clause. And this is a way to even further filter your data. So we're going to go ahead and use a where clause, and we're going to select, let's go ahead and select name, and then age, or no, population from country. And then it helps to kind of start your query on a new line just to kind of make it easier to read, where population is greater than or equal to. So you can use various comparison operators. You can use a greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than, equal to, or not equal to. And so not equal to, I want to say is using, don't quote me on that. Let's not go ahead and do that for now. But let's say we're interested in selecting population from any country that has more than 10 million people. So if I'm reading that correctly, so it's got to get more than 10 million people. And we should get back more of a selected. So there you go. So what it's showing here is it's returning 78 rows. So obviously there are 78 countries in this table that have a population of more than 10 million. So quite a few. Now let's say we want to figure out which countries. Let's say you want to just escape it all. You're tired of living in a really high population country, and maybe you just want to flee to a country that's got a very small population. Now you got to keep in mind though, maybe its surface area is pretty small. So even though it may have a small population, if its surface area is small, well, you're going to have a larger population density. So, but let's just for sake say we want to select a country that's got a really small population density. Let's go ahead and select, well, we come back up here. Let's go ahead and select countries with a population density, population of less than 100,000. So once again, see if you could type out this query on your own. I know you may not have a software or the means to do it, but just kind of think in your head if you would know what to type out. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and select. We're going to select name and population from country where population is, and we're going to say less than 100,000. And so 47 countries have a population of less than 100,000. Actually, I'm kind of surprised by this as well. 47 countries. Now, of course, there are some errors here. Now, you got to think, can a country have zero population? And that's where data cleaning comes into play here. So you're going to be extracting your data from a database, but then once you use some programming language like Python and using a Python library like Pandas or NumPy, you're going to have to figure out why do these countries have a value of 0, and that's where you're going to have to either decide, do you want to drop those rows or do you want to fill those rows with the mean? Like a common tactic is to fill these 0 values with like the average values of all the other countries. So I mean, there's different ways depending, and it's going to affect your analysis depending on how many rows you have with the 0. Now, if you have very few rows with the 0, it might just be best just to drop those columns, but it does depend on the answer you're trying to, the question you're trying to answer. So let's go ahead and hit the scribe table once again. And as you can see, I mean, when it comes to doing data analysis, I mean, it's like there's like a 5-step process. It's like you've got to be able to, okay, you might be presented with the data, and the company might be asking you a way to like answer a question, or you might be like looking at some data that's provided by a company, and maybe it's up to you to kind of like figure out some questions you can come up with and then find answers to those questions. And then that's where you have to collect your data, from different resources. Maybe it's from databases. Maybe you got to do some web scraping. And then if you pull it from a database, well, you're going to be doing what you're seeing here, SQL, running queries. And then you're going to select your data. And then you have to do what's called data cleaning, data wrangling. And that's going to include filtering rows, columns. And so it becomes really important when you're running queries. If you're trying to say, if you're going to run this kind of query, like let's say we're going to select everything from city. We're going to use a different table now. As you can see, let's say you just decide to extract every single row from your city table. Now, when it comes to downloading this and converting this into, say, a pandas data frame, it's going to be a nightmare. You're going to be having to do more data cleaning. You're going to be spending more time having to filter through rows of columns when you could have saved yourself a lot of time by being more careful in how you filter your data, doing a query, an SQL. And as you can see here, that took a little bit of time. So it becomes really crucial to really make sure that you know how to query your data, filter your data so that you're only getting what you really need. So let's go back to our country table. And I'm going to say describe. I'm just going to say describe country, because I'm going to do something different here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to add another clause here, and that is the order by clause. So what's going to happen now is we're not only going to filter our data, but let's say we want to find, our goal here is to find the top 10 most populated countries. Which countries have the most population? So we're going to do the top 10 here. So can you guys figure out how we would do this? All right, can you think? But of course, I haven't shown you how to do that yet. So we're going to have to do a where clause along with an order by clause. So we're going to select, we're going to go ahead and select name, population, from country. And what we're going to do here is we're going to order by. So we're not going to use a where clause here. We're not going to do too much filtering here, but we are going to be using a limit clause. So there is going to be a little bit of filtering. So we're going to go ahead and select the name and the population, and then we're going to order by population. And we're only concerned with the top 10 countries. So we're going to limit, but one thing we got to do here is we got to put another keyword in here, and that is descend. So that is and that stands for descending, because if you don't put that, it's going to go in ascending order, and you're going to get the countries with the least population. So you got to make sure you put that word in there. Another thing that people do is they use ascending. And once again, you're going to get from smallest to largest, but I typically just leave that out if I'm going from smallest to largest. But we're going to go from largest to smallest. We're going to make sure that we put descending in there, and then we're going to use our limit clause 10. And I got an error in here. So yes, I do have an error. In here. And so, so this is good. I told you, I'm going to be making some mistakes here. So I forgot to put the order by. So you gotta put order by. It's not order, it's order by. And that was just a silly mistake. So we're going to go ahead and simply type this out again. Population from country, order by. So it's order by, not order. We got to put order by. It's always order by. We're going to order by population, descending, limit 10. And there you have it. So China, of course, no surprise, followed by India, then United States. So pretty cool what you can do with structured query language. Now, we're going to go ahead and let's say I gave you guys a little challenge. I know you may not have this, but you can always write it on a piece of paper or type it on a computer screen. How do you think we would select the countries that have the smallest surface area? So here's our data, our table up here. So could you guess how we would write a query to return the countries that have the smallest surface area. So feel free to pause the video. We're returning countries with the smallest surface area. Can you figure out how that is? All right, ready? All right, here we go. So once again, we're going to go ahead and select name surface area from country, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to order by surface area, and we're not going to put any descending because we want to find out the smallest countries. So we're not going to put any descending here. Order by surface area, limit 10, and there you have it. So as you can see, you got some countries that are pretty small, and so that's an example of using the where clause. And I'm not going to get into group bys in this video. I'm going to save that for a different video. But some other things we can do here that's pretty cool is it's not going to necessarily work so much with this database, but I'm going to go ahead and switch to a different database because I want to show you a couple of other keywords, and then we're going to call it good. I don't want to get this video too long, but this is just how much fun data science can be, and especially like SQL. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to hit U. We're going to use a different database. It's Q. That's the name of the database. We're going to go ahead and use Q. I want to switch to a different database, and we're going to go ahead and select from a table that I've already got on there. Select times, and this is a table I created myself. Trainers. So I created this table all on my own. It's pretty much fake data, but as you can see here, we have trainer level here. Now let's say you're at a new gym, you just became a manager, and you're wondering, I mean, there's so many different categorizations of personal trainers. Let's say there's like 15 different categorizations, but maybe that's not necessarily true. But let's say there's 4, and you don't have time to ask every one of your trainers, what level of personal trainer are they? Are they a master trainer? Are they level 3? Are they level 2? Well, to answer that question, you can just simply run a query to figure out which levels of trainers are at your gym. So we're going to use what's called a distinct clause here. So we're going to go ahead and select distinct trainer level from trainers. And what's going to pull up? It's just going to pull up each of these trainers. So even though you see repeats here, it's only pulling up the distinct values. So let's say you look at the education column here. I'm going to kind of give you guys a little quizorama here. So can you guys figure out, write it down, what would be the query if you want to select what how many different education levels are there in this given table? So can you figure out what the query would be? All right, you ready? All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and select distinct. We got education from trainers. And here you have it. We have either masters, high school, or bachelors. Unfortunately, we don't have any PhDs, and we don't have any high school dropouts in this table. So that's using the distinct. And now, for kind of a cool one, it's cool. I mean, for me, it's cool. We're going to figure out, let's say we want to figure out like how many employees have a first name that starts with the letter D. Or maybe we're interested in how many employees have a name that, say, starts with Don. Like, there's Donald, there's Donnie, there's Don Lee, there's Donnelly, there's Dante, or whatever. So let's say we're just kind of curious. We want to get to know our employees. We want to figure out, okay, how many which employees have a name that begins with the word, begins with Don? Well, we can use what's called the like clause, a like keyword here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select first name, last name from trainers, where first name like. And so you notice that's a word. And so here what we're doing is we're going to enclose it in quotation marks, and we're going to use what are called wildcards. And in this case, we're going to use percent symbols. And so in this case, we're concerned with only names that begin with the word Don. So in that case, we're going to type in the name Don here, and then we're going to put a percentage sign here. And what this is indicating, and then close it off in parentheses, is we only want to pull back, we only want to extract data that had the first names that start with Don. And then we're going to come back over here, and we're going to pull our data. And so obviously we only have 2 names. Now, let's say we want to figure out, let's just say we're going to pull, let's say we want to figure out all of our employees who say had TH in their names. So we're just kind of curious to figure out which employees have TH in their names. So once again, we're going to go ahead and select, let's just go ahead and select the first name column. Select first name from trainers where first name like, and this time we're going to enclose the certain string that we're interested in. So we want to find out any names that had the TH in them. So we're going to have to enclose it in parentheses. So meaning, and I'm in parentheses, I mean in the percent symbol. So what this is indicating is it doesn't matter what's on the other side of the T or what's on the other side of the H. It's just as long as it's got a TH in that first name, it's gonna extract that data. So here we go. Oh, let's say I got something here. Okay, so I've got myself into a little situation here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna kind of so sometimes there we go. Okay, good. So obviously it's an empty set. So yeah, that's correct. It's an empty. It looks like an empty set. So meaning no one. It looks like no one has, but I did something wrong here because there is a TH there. So I did something wrong there. So I did make a little error here. And you know what that error was, is I forgot to put the quotation mark. So part of being really good at programming is when you get a bug in your code or you come across an error, is one of the most common things is it's mainly, it could be as simple as a typo or a missing comma or a missing quotation mark, it could be just something really simple. So that's always the first thing you want to really look over is, could I be making some kind of typo? So once again, we're going to go ahead and run this query here. First name from trainers, and that's where first name like, and let's go ahead and put %th, and then we're going to close it. And then now we put our quotation. Now, so we have 3 people that have TH in them. Now that's more like it. So I just kind of showed you guys a few different queries that you can run. Pretty basic queries on SQL. But as I mentioned, this was meant to kind of be a blogging video tutorial. Not really a tutorial, but it's kind of giving you guys an idea of what it's like working with SQL and kind of the importance in having this skill set. Because if you're a data analyst or data scientist, it does prove really useful to have a strong skill set in SQL. So aside from that, I'm going to be making more videos on this. I'm going to touch up on doing some group by statements, maybe some subqueries, but that's a little further on down the line. I don't want to be making too many mistakes when I'm trying to make such video, but yep, as far as my data science journey, I'm on the 3rd module of my data analyst now degree. And so this project, it's going to be kind of challenging. Once I get to it, it's going to involve utilizing some probability, central theorem. It's going to be pretty interesting, but that's what it is. It's a challenging field. It's definitely going to keep me busy. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, kind of switching things up. Hopefully it didn't get too long, but regardless, hope you guys got something out of it. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Thank you for continuing to support my channel, and I'll be back with more. Peace out.